In an age where the smartphone is practically an extension of the human body, the idea of going without it for even a few hours can feel daunting, let alone for 30 days. However, those who take this step often find themselves on a journey that's more transformative than they ever expected. Disconnecting from a device so deeply embedded in daily life uncovers layers of habits, emotions, and truths that most people don't realize are controlled by the glowing screen in their hand. From the first hour to the final day, the experience becomes less about deprivation and more about discovery, both of the world and of oneself. At first, the absence of the phone is most noticeable in the small moments: the habitual scroll while waiting in line, the mindless checking of social media during a lull in conversation, the reflex to grab the phone the moment boredom strikes. These reflexes don't just disappear, they rise to the surface, revealing how often the device is used as a shield against discomfort, silence, or emotional vulnerability. The first few days can be the most difficult, filled with a strange emptiness and even anxiety. It's not uncommon to experience a withdrawal effect, feeling restless, irritable, or disconnected. The brain, used to constant hits of dopamine from notifications, pings, and likes, now faces a kind of silence that feels uncomfortable. But as the days progress, something subtle begins to shift. The moments that once felt awkward without a phone begin to feel spacious. Instead of checking messages during breakfast, there's presence. The taste of the food is more vivid. The conversations around the table become richer. Eye contact strengthens. Instead of filling silence with a screen, people start to fill it with thought. This mental space is one of the most underrated gifts of disconnecting. Without the constant barrage of information, advertising, and digital noise, the mind finds clarity. Ideas that were buried under notifications begin to surface. Creative thoughts reawaken. The imagination, starved from years of passive consumption, becomes active again. Sleep improves dramatically for many. Without blue light and late-night scrolling, the body's natural circadian rhythms begin to reset. Falling asleep becomes easier. Waking up feels more refreshing. Mornings are no longer jump-started by news feeds and emails, but by a slower, more natural rhythm that begins with the sun rather than a screen. For those who struggled with insomnia, the absence of a phone becomes a form of medication with no side effects. Socially, the impact can be profound. While some fear they'll become disconnected from friends and family, many find the opposite. The quality of interactions deepens. Rather than fragmented, rapid-fire texts, people begin to have longer, more meaningful conversations in person or over the phone from landlines. Meeting someone becomes an event again, not just another ping. People start to really listen, not with one ear while the other stays alert for the next buzz, but with full attention. Relationships benefit from this presence. Friends notice the difference. They feel more seen, more heard. Intimacy grows. Trust builds. The phone, once a barrier to connection, is removed, allowing true connection to flourish. The change extends into how time is perceived. With no phone to default to, the day feels longer. There's a renewed sense of control over time. Instead of disappearing down a digital rabbit hole for hours, people begin to rediscover hobbies. Some take up drawing. Others read books they've been meaning to finish for years. Others simply go for long walks, noticing details in their neighborhood they never saw before. The act of being fully present in the physical world becomes not just pleasant but sacred. Mental health tends to improve in noticeable ways. Without social media comparisons, people stop measuring their lives against curated highlight reels. Self-esteem often rises. The constant pressure to respond, to keep up, to be visible all the time melts away. Anxiety decreases. Mood stabilizes. There's a feeling of being grounded, of being enough. There's more emotional resilience, and small daily stresses that once felt overwhelming seem more manageable. The lack of constant alerts and messages gives the nervous system a break it desperately needed. Of course, challenges arise. Navigating without a digital map requires preparation. Scheduling events without reminders takes effort. Taking notes or capturing thoughts means going analog with a notebook or journal. But even these inconveniences begin to feel like gains. Writing by hand improves memory. Planning ahead improves mindfulness. Being unreachable at times teaches boundaries, both for oneself and for others. It's a return to intentionality in every action. Work, which for many is tied tightly to their phone, becomes more focused. Without the interruptions of endless group chats, emails, or notifications, people report higher productivity. Tasks are completed faster and with better quality. There's less multitasking and more deep work. Meetings start on time. People arrive fully engaged. They remember details better. Collaboration becomes more human again, less transactional. Family life transforms. Parents who disconnect from phones become more available to their children, not just physically, but emotionally. Kids notice. They ask more questions. They engage more deeply. They feel prioritized. Spouses report better communication, less conflict, more shared moments. Homes feel calmer without the constant background noise of alerts and scrolling. Financial habits may change too. Without constant exposure to ads, online shopping, and social media influence, people spend less. Impulse buying decreases. Budget awareness increases. People rediscover the value of money and the joy of saving. The dopamine once delivered by online purchases is replaced by satisfaction from real-life activities and relationships. Personal growth accelerates. With the digital world on pause, many use the opportunity to reflect. Journaling becomes a tool for self-discovery. Meditation becomes easier. Time alone no longer feels empty. It feels full. People start asking bigger questions about purpose, about values, about what truly matters. The noise fades and the signal strengthens. People come out of the 30-day experiment not just different, but wiser. Some report spiritual awakenings. Others say they finally understood what it means to be present. Many say they simply feel alive again, like they reclaimed something they didn't know they had lost. And while some miss the convenience and connection the phone provides, they no longer feel ruled by it. They learn to use technology as a tool, not as a master. They begin to build healthier digital habits, choosing when and how to engage, rather than being pulled in against their will. When the 30 days end, most people don't go back to their old ways. They may use their phone again, but differently. Notifications stay off. Social media gets limited to certain hours or certain days. People may delete apps that once drained hours from their lives. They protect their mornings and evenings from digital intrusion. They continue walking without headphones. They leave their phones in another room during meals. They rediscover face-to-face connection. They value boredom as a gateway to creativity. This challenge, 30 days without a phone, is not about rejecting technology. It's about reclaiming humanity. It's about pausing long enough to ask, what is my phone doing for me? What is it taking from me? It's about replacing distraction with presence, speed with stillness, consumption with creation. It's about resetting the nervous system, reconnecting with people, and rediscovering a sense of self outside the digital world. Most importantly, this experiment reveals that we are capable of so much more than we think. We are capable of silence, of focus, of boredom, of creativity, of deep emotional presence. We are capable of building real relationships, pursuing real goals, and living real lives. The phone, for all its power and potential, cannot give us meaning. It can only distract us from seeking it. Taking a break from it just for 30 days can change everything. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And in a world addicted to more, faster, and louder, choosing less, slower, and quieter may just be the most radical act of freedom available.